I guess I should stop my music.
Oh,
And in game, and yeah, we are live. Go ahead with the intro there, Conrad.
Hey guys, welcome to Reticulous Radio. I'm your host Conrad, my co-hosts Josh and Keith, and today here with us is Dillon Heyne over at CBC Exotics, where they let him free handle some of their cool snakes just for pictures. Strictly for pictures. I mean, I don't know what's up with it. He's like got the whole pet store to himself or some shit. I don't know. You want to give us the lowdown on that?
I met the right people at the right time.
No, but
So
for real.
How'd the whole inside joke come about?
Oh, I have no idea. I was commenting on a friend's post on Facebook. I don't know, it was some political bullshit, and I don't know. I started talking, and some random dude I've never talked to before popped up, and he's pretty much calling me like lazy trash, all this stuff, and like I don't know. So I posted a pic of a pied berm, and then I don't know. He started bashing me, saying that like all my animals are at a pet store, and I go there and take videos and all this. And I don't know. Came out of left field. I don't know, man.
That's pretty funny though.
That's society today, I guess.
It's amusing.
Yeah, it made me chuckle. But yeah, you show me a pet store in the States with pied berms, and I'll give you $5,000.
So for those who don't know you and what you keep, you wanna give us a rundown?
Well, a little
Depends
bit of
what
everything.
comes in and out of the store.
Well,
Yeah, whatever comes in and out of the store.
This is kind of breakdown of the snake room. Kind of got a little bit of shit everywhere, but I keep boas, berms, a couple retics, apodora, a bunch of venomous stuff, gaboon vipers, fun stuff like that. But I specialize in short tails and Burmese pythons. We just keep a little bit of everything. I'm not really good on the attention span thing, so I need bits and pieces of everything. Scrub pythons, cobras, king cobras.
Scrubs are definitely dope.
Yeah, scrubs are a good time. I like them. Oh, my wife's running away. Oh, she ran away. Yeah, I don't know. Hognose snakes, Gila monsters.
I mean, you basically are in a pet store. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I might as well.
He's not wrong though, is he? I mean, they are your animals, but I mean, it's still basically like.
Yeah, no, it's just people for you, man. I think I touched a sensitive spot on him somewhere, talking about politics, I guess, but that seems pretty common nowadays.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, that's why I try not to get into it too much because too many
so do I,
people
but
get
when I see
way
people just
too
being,
sensitive.
Exactly, but I don't know. When I see people being stupid, talking stupid, and coming out of left field with stuff they have no idea what's going on, I don't know. I try to throw my 2 cents in, and then people just snap out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know what else to do, it seems.
Defense.
Yeah, they immediately get defensive. So when you say you work with berms, I mean, how long have you been working with snakes?
Well, I mean, snakes. I've had snakes since I was 6. I got my first snake for my birthday when I was 6 from Brad McCarthy.
What's going on, Adam?
I still have him, actually. He's 22 at this point. Well, he will be 22 this year at least. It just kind of snowballed from there. I've been working with berms probably around 10 years now. I think I got 2010, 2011, so 9-10 years, something like that. Initially, that started as a pet-only thing. I had, I don't know, I didn't want to breed berms per se, but I kind of fell into it. I ended up with my hypogranate girl, who just ovulated today, by the way. I was super excited about that. Yeah, she's been paired with the pied. So hopefully something cool will come out of that. But yeah, then I fell into breeding berms, and now, I mean, that is a hefty part of my collection at this point, is Burmese pythons and blood pythons. But over the last few years, I've really focused a lot on berms just because, I don't know, I'm trying to improve green. I'm trying to line breed green. and pretty much get the pattern out of it, increase the color, the brightness. And yeah, at this point, I want to get hypogranite into pied because hypogranite's my favorite genetic combo in Burmese, and I think you throw pied on that, and it's going to be insane.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
that would definitely look pretty
Now,
sweet.
are you able to give like the breakdown? Because I know Conrad asked me before, and I'm not so much into like just short tails. What's the difference between short tails and bloods?
Well, for a long time, there wasn't a difference if you talk to people. So people thought black blood, Borneo blood, and then blood python, your red bloods. Over time, within the last, I think, like 15 years, something like that, more field studies have been done. They've collected more specimens from different localities, and they've actually defined them all as their own species. So Borneo shorttails, which is Python breitensteini, Python curtis is Sumatran shorttails, which is the formerly known as black bloods, and then you have Python Bronner's May, which is your typical red blood python. Real difference is Borneos kind of have like a brown coloration. They have subocular scales under their eyes, a little bit different head scalation. Same thing with the Sumatrans, which are also considered a short tail mode of the python. Suboc scales, different head scalation. And the Borneos seem to stay a little bit smaller than blood python would per se, at least from my experience in a lot of the adults I've seen. And short-tail pythons seem to have a lot smaller, rounder eggs and a little bit larger clutch size versus a blood python. Average is 16 to. My buddy that I did a split breeding with over in Connecticut got like 24 out of a female, and that's the biggest I've ever seen.
Wow.
But mainly if you look at the animals themselves individually, they're pretty easily distinguished. Curtis are black. Or like a silvery gray and black. Breeds are brown for the most part. People get mad at me for saying that, but here's to you people. Bloods are red, almost always. But bloods, you have all of the morphs. You have ivory, T positive, T negative albino, matrix, golden eye, 007, batik, flower, zigzag, all this other stuff. You don't really see a lot of that with the short tails. It's more just line bred. And the morphs you see with Borneos are kind of sporadic. There is no real, genetics at it. It's just kind of, you breed this to this and something pops out. You don't know what it is. It's kind of like rolling the dice. So a lot of people like that about breeding Borneos because you never know what you're going to get. Could be something completely unique they've never seen before, or it could just come out all brown, ugly snakes. But over time, people have done some cool stuff with Borneos. I wasn't a big fan until recently just because brown doesn't get me going. That's what drew me to blood pythons is the deep reds. But, they're coming around. They're cool.
Oh, yeah.
And Josh said you got some olive pythons. When did you?
Yeah. I have 2.3. I initially bought 1.1, like probably around 3-4 years ago now. And even like Brad said, they're the biggest olives he's ever seen. And they're massive. These are 12, 13-foot animals. And they were sold to me as a pair. And so I tried pairing them and immediately tried to kill each other. So I ended up probing them. I have 2 males, so I ended up scoring 3 females this year. I got one, she's about 2.5, 3 years old, and then a 2-year-old and a holdback from somebody that I bought this year. So, yeah, olives are awesome. I'll go see if I can pull one out, actually.
All right, sweet.
But, yeah, they're really cool species. I'm a sucker for anything Australian, as is. This little girl's in shit. I don't know. It's going to be hard to see. Yeah, here, let me flip it and give the phone to my wife. But, yeah, here, they're, kind of built similar to a retic, I would say. A long, slender animal, not real heavy-bodied, though. Even less heavy-bodied than a retic would be. It's kind of hard to describe. They're really unique animals.
Yeah, I really like that slender, long look on pythons. Especially
this is my youngest female. she's got probably around a year old now. I got her off Will Shores out of Cali. I guess he has a buddy that he works with down in Florida, and I mean the bigger girls out. No, olives like to bite. Yeah. Once they're out though, they're not bad. Kind of like a retic. I don't just reach in with retics either. But this is only a year older than that other animal. But Will said this is one of his holdback, so I don't know if he was feeding her a little heavier. But I mean, she doesn't look real big, but she's 6 foot. She stretches out my length. I'm 6'3", so she's not small. No. That's one thing you gotta watch with all the olives and other Aussie stuff. When they kind of look like they're smelling you, they just go for a bite and then they wrap.
Yeah, see, that's. I've heard the same with like barnecks and stuff and scrubs.
Oh yeah.
They just
Scrubs are nuts. Almost every Woma python bite I've ever had has been from what seemed to be a calm olive or a calm Woma python. Let me flip this. And then it looked like it was smelling you, and then it would dig its nose in you, kind of move its head side to side, bite and wrap. And then Womas don't let go; they just chew and chew and chew, and it hurts. And you can do the under the water thing, and they don't really care. I don't know if it's because they're Australian and badass or what, but they're very spirited animals.
Yeah, and like you were talking to size, I've seen his larger males, and you don't think that they're that big until they're coming out, and they have an impressive size to them.
What, the olives?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. That for real. They're in a 6 foot cage, and they look small in a 6 foot cage. But then you get them out, and you're like, oh man, it's just they got the length. They just don't have that heavy build like you'd see on a Burmese or an anaconda or another. Most people think large constrictors. They think heavy body, large meals, big head. I mean, olives, they're long, but they're just not. Don't have the mass that most large constrictors do. But supposedly, people say they can get, I don't know, 16 plus. I've never seen one that big, but I've heard of it.
Guess we'll see.
Right, I've seen pictures of some pretty long-looking olives, like in Australia.
There's that one.
Just going to Facebook.
Yeah, there's that one picture, like it's on a rock interface by a river, and it's like trying to haul. It's either a really big like wallaby or some kind of that's impressive. And then there's the one that floats around of it eating a crocodile. That's a huge animal. I feel like that would be absolutely amazing to run into or even own. But I have no idea how old mine are, but I know their growth rate now, and they haven't grown much since I've had them. I don't feed them super duper heavy because when they did come to me, they were super overweight. So they've been on a pretty strict diet since they've come to my care, and they look good now.
They look real healthy.
Adam wants to know if you think that captivity could possibly be shrinking genetics.
I mean, honestly, I don't see how it could. Possibly, anything's possible. Don't get me wrong, but these animals don't eat like they do with us, like they do in the wild. That picture we were just talking about of that olive python eating the wallaby or the crocodile. That may be that snake's only meal for that year.
Yeah.
Granted, that's a huge meal, and we don't know. I've noticed over time, feeding different food items may give you a different growth rate. Different over time. Who knows what their growth rate is affected by their wild diet? But I feel like we're definitely a lot more consistent on feeding than they would be in the wild. So I feel that they should reach their maximum potential. But, I mean, you also hear of back in the day, all these giant retics that people seen, like 28, 30-foot animals. I think the longest record was in like the 60s or something, and they claimed it was 30. And that's in a book. Right. But we don't see animals that size anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Right. I think they claimed it was 33, and that was a shed they measured or something, which we know sheds are always longer.
Right. And then they had, a couple years ago, They found one in Indo or the Philippines or something, and it was a massive animal. And they were claiming 30 foot, but then somebody went out there and it was like 22. Somebody actually went out there to measure it, and it wasn't even near the 30-foot mark. But absolutely huge animal.
Yeah.
But we also see animals that size in captivity. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean,
feeding could affect all that, especially because most large constrictor keepers do feed generally the same food items. You know, we feed chickens, we feed rabbits, we feed piglets, stuff like that. So who knows what the actual nutritional value of those animals are versus what they would eat in the wild as a staple. So possibly.
Right. And so someone was having this conversation, and they were talking about retics eating people, you know, in the wild, which, I mean, has happened like a few times. I think like they brought up a whole list.
It's probably happened more than we realize. I mean, these are people, this is a snake that spends a lot of time in you know, hiding. And in marshy areas, you know, it could be in a rice paddy. And compared to us, I mean, native people over there, like in Asia, Indonesia, they're smaller than us. They're not built, you know, they don't have wide shoulders like a lot of Americans do. Look at Josh; he's a big boy. Retic ain't getting you down.
Retics ain't got nothing on me.
No, not a chance. Me, I'm a skinny dude. I mean, they might have a chance, but even me, I don't think they'd have a chance getting something like me down. A small, frail Asian woman working in a rice paddy over there, fair game. I mean, a giant snake,
Right.
as big around as a telephone pole, that could happen.
Adam said he could eat a small Asian.
I could probably eat a small Asian, for God's sakes. Yeah, I mean, I have animals that would give the rest of their money.
Yeah,
Definitely doesn't
so
happen, though. It's the right place, right time, or wrong place, wrong time, I guess, at that point. But it does happen.
And it kind of goes back to what you said. You know, we feed all our animals quite frequently compared to what they'd eat in the wild. Like a big retic in the wild isn't going to eat as much as a big retic in captivity. So they'd most likely be willing to, you know, they're going to be a little bit more, not as picky on what they eat. You know, they're going to grab what they can and hope it works.
Some pops in front of them, there's a heat signature in front of them that they feel they can get down. They're going to go for it because they don't know if another food item that size is going to come by again anytime soon.
Exactly.
Yeah, my adults eat probably every 4 to 6 weeks, depending on what time of the year. If I'm prepping my girls for breeding, stuff like that. The animals in the wild will be lucky to every 4 to 6 months. You know, that's a big gap. So yeah, you imagine your biggest retic, sperm, anaconda, whatever you keep, and you don't feed it for 6 months, and then
it's gonna be a little pissed and hungry.
Yeah. It's gonna go for whatever it can, and those are situations like that. Things like that are gonna happen. You know, maybe it was just coming out of the cold season and somebody steps in the wrong place at the wrong time. It happens. But the snake's just doing what it does. It sees something warm that thinks it can eat, and it's gonna try and eat it. You know, that's part of nature. People die from horses. People die from cows. People fall off of ladders and die. It's sure of a hell of a
dogs kill people.
Yeah, for real. It's a lot higher number than it is snake deaths. Even venomous snake bites are far in between nowadays that are actually fatal.
Right. I mean, especially if you get bit by a wild venomous snake, your hospital's gonna have the antivenom.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. And
don't try and suck the venom out. You know, just go to the hospital. You'll be good.
That's gonna work. But I mean, generally, everything you get bit by in North America, luckily, we're going to treat with CroFab. But the American medical system being what it is, CroFab's about $6,000 a vial when you can treat a cobra bite for a fifth of that. And the only people that are going to get bit by a cobra in the United States are zookeepers, venomous keepers, and venomous breeders. So I don't see how that makes sense. That always kind of baffled my mind. But I guess, everything's a marketing scheme here. So.
Everything's about money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're the country's a monopoly. You know that's what made what we are though.
Do you keep any anti-venom on hand for any of your venomous?
No, I've thought about it, and I've had a lot of people ask me that, and I've had a lot of people ask me why I don't. Man, Dax is staring you down, babe. So my wife's sitting over by my king cage, and he's just like, I want to eat you. But no, I don't keep anti-venom on hand just because it has a short shelf life. It's super expensive. And I like to think that I am pretty safe when I'm handling my animals. I mean, you know, accidents always happen. The best people that have been doing this their entire lives get bit. But I do have bite protocols. I have a game plan for every species if something were to go down. The wife knows what to do. So we're just going to play it by that. But like I said, the antivenom has a short shelf life. But Joe Switolski, who's a importer, seller, I mean, if you're into rare and odd species, you've probably heard the name somewhere. But he just got bit by Bushmaster, I think in October, November, something like that. And he took antivenom that he had on hand with him to the hospital. It said it was expired by like a couple years, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look back the post and read. I didn't actually talk to Joe about the incident himself. But he had to convince them to administer the expired antivenom, but that antivenom also saved his life. So who knows if the expiration dates they're actually putting on these are true, or if it's just a gimmick to make you feel like you need more in case you don't get bit. But I guarantee that antivenom is what saved his life. Joe got bit by the deadliest snake in the Eastern Hemisphere. He should not be alive right now. It's just facts. But that antivenom definitely helped him. And he said it was like years expired. So I question the actual labeling on that. So maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to keep around if that worked for Joe. At least for some of the worst things I have, you know, that if you do get hit by, there's certain things, you know, native stuff or something that you treat with crowfabs not nearly as bad. We can have that local, but the kings, the gaboons, rhino vipers, stuff like that, that'd be a bad bite. And we don't have that around here local, you know, that'd have to be flown in.
All right. So what was your first breeding project, out of curiosity?
Back in the day, ball pythons. Unfortunately, I'm ashamed to say that.
Seems like
I mean,
everybody starts.
Yeah, ball python. They are. They're a great snake. They're a great temperament. They come in all kinds of colors and patterns, and they're beautiful animals. But they're just that. They're mundane. They're basic. But they are a great stepping stone for somebody to get into this hobby. Somebody are afraid of snakes. You hand them a banana pied, gonna blow their mind. I don't care who you are. You look at a pied animal, whether it be a retic, a ball python, a macerana, whatever. Pied's awesome. And that can break a lot of people's fear of the animal itself. Just, you know, that visual aesthetic just captivates people. So that's one thing I do credit ball pythons for. They'll bring in a ton of new people into this hobby, and it's going to keep us going for years. But they brought so much greed from breeders, and every table we go to, it shows ball pythons now.
Right.
That's that part, and that's why I do what I do, and I have so many different species. I want to be the only people or the only person at, you know, the Pittsburgh show that has Woma pythons and pied berms and all this other stuff, scrub pythons, apodora, olive pythons, because you don't ever see it. You know, everybody has ball pythons and king snakes, and corn snakes are making a comeback, which is kind of cool because they kind of died down since the 80s, 90s. But
yeah, I've noticed that.
Balls have remained supreme for like 20 years now, and they're still going strong. Every show you're at, you see people walking around with little deli cups full of ball pythons. So I mean, I don't personally like them. I like them as a snake. I like them as a pet. I like the idea of a ball python for new people, but the popularity has just ruined them for me. That was my first project, was ball python, and then I had some trouble in my juvenile years. Got in some legal issues, and I ended up getting out of snakes for a period of time. I got back into snakes, and actually the first thing I bred when I got back into snakes was Woma pythons, and they're still one of my favorites. I absolutely adore Woma pythons. I have 2 clutches in incubator now, and a girl just ovulated for me today, and they're awesome.
So, what's your favorite snake out of your collection?
Oh, hypogranite, my big hypogranite girl. That's my baby right there. She's actually still pretty swelled up, which I'm super excited about because I've had her with my male hypogranite as well, who I'm really hoping didn't do the job, just for the fact that the pied. I've seen a lot more locks with the pied than I have with the hypogranite, so I'm hoping the pied did the job. But her being my favorite animal, and that being my coolest project I've ever worked on, I don't know, that just tickles me in like 17 different ways. I'd love to see her on eggs, especially pied eggs.
Oh yeah.
She's definitely my favorite animal though. But Dax, my captive red cobra, is definitely neck and neck with her. The coolest snake I've ever owned, most intelligent snake I've ever owned, and he's the coolest to work. He's just smart. You could tell. He's thinking shit out. And he doesn't have an ounce of aggression in him. When he's in his cage, he'll hood up. He'll stand at the glass. But once he's out, he's like a noodle. He just wants to go explore. He'll come up out of hook at you, but he's never hooded up. You really got to get him going to get him to hood. It's really hard to pick a favorite, though. I mean, I've had so many people ask me that. The hypogranite's always going to be my go-to. That's my baby. But, I mean, it really depends on the mood and the time of day when you ask me that, what I'm going to tell you.
Well, this one gave me shit today, so not this one.
Which one
Like
didn't shit in her water bowl today?
Right,
Oh, God.
nice.
Like, never, any of them, never. As soon as you play them, you fuck up the game. Terrible.
The minute later.
Oh, man. Sorry. So do you keep anything, like any lizards, any other reptiles besides just snakes, or what else you got
My wife
going
has
on?
blue tongue skinks. I've kept all kinds of stuff over the years. Species of geckos and frogs and lizards and turtles. The only thing I personally have now, I adore Gila monsters. I have a colony of Gila monsters, and I have a tegu. My wife keeps blue tongue skinks. She's fell for those, so I've bought up a bunch of those for her. She has like some Xanthics and some Marukis and some captive bred northern stuff like that. But I mean, I'm a snake guy. Snakes have always been, I don't know why, an obsession. So that's mainly what I have. But I'll always have Gila monsters. But we keep spiders as well and some scorpions. Reptile wise, though, the only thing we have would be the skinks and the Gilas and my tegu. But he's not really a project. He's just a pet. He's kind of like our mascot.
One of our big followers. Oh,
Was that?
Did you recently just get into spiders? Or
Well, we recently just got balls deep into spiders.
I know you started popping up with more and more every.
Yeah, man. It seems like every show I find something I really like. But no, I've had spiders for quite some time. Phone. But my ex hated them, so I wouldn't keep them at the time. I've always had scorpions for 8 years, 9 years, almost as long as snakes. I love scorpions, but we had a spider, maybe 2 for like 3 years, and then since October, I don't know, we have like 30 now, something like that. So yeah, we went a little over the top for a while.
I know that last show we seen you at, you had a stack of containers like this fucking big.
Yeah, I'm not good. I don't find snakes I have to have anymore. If I have to have it, I pretty much have it. So
Right.
I needed something new, and spiders are a hell of a lot cheaper than snakes, buddy.
That is true. That is very true.
It's beautiful. You can spend $500 and leave with like a box full of spiders. And you can spend $500 and pay off a quarter of a snake.
Yeah. For sure. Now, do you handle most of them often, or do you just keep them for breeding purposes?
I mean, some of them we hold. Some of the species we keep, though, you shouldn't hold.
Right.
There's not a lot of medically significant tarantulas, but of course, the ones that are, I have to have.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the stuff that I like, even snakes, I'm attracted to mean things with a bad reputation. I just always have been. I like rats. I like cobras. I like rattlesnakes, things that get a bad name. So I like old world spiders, which I don't know, some people may not know the difference between old and new world. New world have urticating hairs where they'll kick them at you and they'll get itchy, stuff like that. Or no, new world do, my bad. Old world don't have that. They're fast and they bite. So I love old world spiders. She likes the new world because she likes to hold them. But yeah, most of mine are mean and bitey and fast.
Fun stuff.
As far as the scorpions, what are they handleable? Because like I've heard, the emperor scorpions are pretty good.
Yeah, emperors are calm. Most pandanus, which is the genus that emperors are in, are relatively calm. Asian forests are super calm for the most part. A lot of the older wild caught stuff will come in a little flighty, but you can still hold them. But the general rule of thumb is you don't want to hold it if it has really small pinchers and a fat tail, because that's where all their power is in at that point. The scorpions like emperors and the Asian forest, stuff like that, with the big claws, rely on those claws to kill their prey. They crush them versus, relying on their stinger. Their stinger is not much worse than being stung by a bee or a wasp. If you're allergic to that kind of thing, you definitely don't want to get stung. But the animals with the really small pinchers, generally smaller scorpions, slender body, have a really fat tail and a really thick telson, which is their stinger. And those are the ones that are highly potent and that you don't want to get hit by. There's not a lot of species of scorpions that do pose a threat to humans, at least death-wise. But there are a few. Luckily, most of those are in deserty places, Egypt, India, warmer climates. But yeah, there are spiders you can handle, or scorpions. And actually, my first was an emperor, just because that fact. It was huge, and it was super cool looking, big black scorpion, big pinchers, and I could just pick it up. There are some that are defensive, but this girl, I could literally just like scoop her up out of her cage. She had no care in the world. Super cool. But yeah, you can hold scorpions. It's just, I wouldn't recommend it to everybody if you're not confident with it, just because if you get, the heebie-jeebies and you fling it or something, it might get a little uneasy, and then you might get stung.
I feel like that's anything, though.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of
anything, can bite. You can have a dog, the sweetest dog in the world. If it feels threatened, it could bite you. Anything can happen with anything. But, treat something with respect. Generally, you get that back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, talking about, you got to handle with confidence too, because you don't want to make whatever you're handling feel.
Don't second guess yourself. If you're going, that same thing with if you're handling a crocodilian or something, second guessing yourself and being hesitant could be what actually gets you bit, or put yourself in a bad situation where something could happen to you. Confidence is key. Stay calm, stay confident. And that's with anything.
Speaking of,
that's with spiders.
Most people adding anything, if you're scared of it, you're going down. Like I panic. I watched one dude go just straight on to head-on traffic, and I'm like,
right,
what the fuck just happened? Like, I'm scared. And we weren't
confidence. I mean, even in life situations, confidence takes you light years, like at job interviews and shit.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with music, man. If you're confident, they feel that, and if you're scared, they feel that too. You know, your heartbeat's up, your blood pressure's up. They can feel all that stuff, especially like a snake. They're wrapped around you. They can feel your pulse going. They can feel your body temperature rising, stuff like that. They pick up on that. They know what's going on. They can tell if you're on edge. You know,
and like I've even said before, was whenever people have that fear and they go in they hesitate.
Right.
That snake now doesn't know what your intentions are. Like you might have bad intentions for it, and they get scared themselves a lot of the times.
Yeah, exactly. And if an animal feels that you're scared, they may not see it as fear. You know, they may see it as a threat. If you're making movements because you're uneasy, especially stuff. You know, a lot of snakes aren't sight predators. They sense heat, stuff like that, vibrations. But if you're like an animal with a crocodile or something, or a tegu or a monitor lizard that is very sight oriented, and you're making these rapid movements because you're nervous or you're scared, they might take that as a threat. Or if it's a small enough body part, hell, I've had my tegu go after my toes with socks on because he thought there were mice or some shit. It happens. Movements like that, whether you're going for the animal, trying to catch it, or if you're just trying to keep your distance, that could set them off. Confidence and keeping a cool, level head is always the best situation to go around any kind of animal, whether it be a dog, a reptile, a big bird, even people. I mean, I'd rather get in a cage with a crocodile or a tiger than a pissed off person nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, if you're confident and something were to happen, I feel like you'd be quicker to respond, have that instinct kick in, than sit there and second guess what you're gonna do.
Right. Yeah. I've always been, confidence is a big key factor in the way you handle animals. I feel like
life in general.
Right.
For sure.
I'm not gonna mention names or anything, but I was scrolling through the Book of Faces. What was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? And dude posted a picture of his alligator with something in its mouth, and he says, "Guess what that is?"
Oh, fucking A! I saw that shit. That was Jesus Christ.
The way they played it off like it was a normal occurrence, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. They didn't try to draw. I give everybody that was involved in that props. It was pretty well handled, and fuck it, Justin took it like a champ, dude. Like he didn't freak out. He kept his cool. He just shook his head. He looked at. He's like, "Damn it!" And then he walked off. He didn't blame the animal. He didn't freak out. He didn't try to scare anybody. And then he was poking fun of the situation later. Definitely not the kind of thing you want, especially in a public setting.
No.
Right.
And then one thing I definitely want to give him props for is he had news reach out to him, of course, to do an interview, and he declined it because he told them he didn't want to give like HSUS or PETA
any kind of
any.
Right.
So
we've had news people come around the Pittsburgh show and stuff like that, and people are even hesitant there. And that's why the news will take a good situation and twist it into a negative light in any way they can, just to make it fit their agenda or whatever they're trying to push. And Justin did the right thing there. He turned them down. He asked them, what are you interested in? Why are you doing this? What's your motive? What's the reasoning behind this interview? And if he got weird vibes, he'd shoot him down, and he did. And I give him all the props for that, because the last thing we need, especially in today's day and age, especially where he's living, he lives in Florida. Florida's going through so much right now. They're trying to take away the CPW from people. They're trying to take away tegus from people. They're trying to take away iguanas from people. They don't want anybody doing this stuff anymore, which is understandable, but they're not just punishing the negligent people at this point. They're
Right.
punishing
They're not just
everyone.
punishing
That's
There's
where
people
the
in-
irresponsible keepers.
You know,
Wait,
Tom
God.
Crutchfield's done a lot of dumb stuff over the years, but he's one of the OGs in this hobby. He's brought in so many things. He's done so much for us. He's brought a lot of, you know, bad light as well. There's a lot of stories about Tom that you'll hear about people, but he is one of the people that is set up to keep these animals, iguanas and tegus and all this kind of stuff. But he's also one of the people that will be affected by these new laws that they're trying to pass. You know, and it's ridiculous. So, and Justin being in Florida, all this going on, took that all into, you know, the picture, and he shot him down. And that, you know, who knows what kind of publicity or what kind of people could see, you know, even
Right.
the positive aspect of a news, but he doesn't want them having any kind of arsenal to twist it into a negative manner. And yeah, I give him all
Right.
the world for that, because that,
Oh, for sure.
especially what he does, he works in a public setting. You know, he puts on shows like that for people. That's how he makes money. He's an animal handler, and you know, publicity, especially news channels on TV. That's gonna, you know, who's this guy, and then they're gonna look him up, and then they may see what he does. They may see he has these shows where he wrestles alligators and he handles these venomous animals and all this kind of stuff, and they might want to go see him. So that's how he makes his living, and he still shot that down because he's trying to protect what he believes in. And that's what we all need to do at this point. And we all need to stick together. You know, you see all these people on there bashing each other for stupid shit that people do. I've been guilty of it. Everybody's been guilty of it. Sometimes you're having a bad day, you see something dumb, and it puts you there, pisses you off, and you lay into somebody. But you know, that then everybody gangs up, and all your friends will get together and they're all gang up on these people. But then people like HSUS and PETA see this, and they see this malicious behavior that we're just showing towards each other, and we're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to stick together. You know, we're all in this for the same reason, and they'll use that to their advantage. They'll make us look like bad people, and then that gives them what they need to push this agenda and these laws that are gonna make us lose the animals that we love so much.
For sure.
It's sad, man. Especially like this whole thing with PA, they're trying to do away with, or I don't even know if it's at a federal level at this point, but like public animal displays. That would shut down shows. That would shut down petting zoos. That would shut down booths at fairs like Brad did for years. You know, there's people that make a living doing that stuff, and it would completely ruin them. And the more stupid stuff we put on public platforms like Facebook and Instagram, it just hurts them, you know, and that's what people don't realize. But
Negative,
I think
more views than positive.
right. We need to put more positive out there. We need to, you know, stuff like we're doing now. We're talking about issues and trying to help people understand that that's what we need to do. We need to in a constructive way, you know, not a destructive way. We don't need to beat people down. We need to be confident. We need to try to help people in a positive manner and be kind and helpful,
Right.
not just beat the hell out of them and call them all these names and tell them you're going to kill your snake, you're going to kill that lizard. But yeah, they might be on the way to keep killing them. But if you keep just beating the hell out of these people, they're not going to come back for help. They're not going to ask questions.
Yeah, it's kind of a vicious, repetitive cycle.
Right. It's the people that have been doing this their entire lives that are going to help these people. We're not the people that should be beating them down. We should be trying to help. Granted, there's going to be those people that you see, you know, repeat customers, just dumbass after dumbass after dumbass after dumbass that keep doing dumbass shit. But that's when you need to get ugly. You know, or if they're in your group, kick them out of your group, get them out of here, block them. I don't care. Just don't spread any more hate, because that's just feeding people to believe that kind of thing, that we are, you know, idiots that don't know what we're doing. But in reality, we're not. A lot of us do know what we're doing, and we love these animals, and we keep them properly, and we feed them properly. But there's always going to be a bad apple out of the bunch, and that's usually, unfortunately, the one that's going to get the most limelight.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that kills the hobby is the negativity and then the bad info. Bad information, like fucking shit information that someone like pulls out of their ass and then just gives to everyone. Like no one knows where it came from, but all of a sudden now it's got scientific proof backing it. Like that kind of info.
Everybody thinks they're biologists.
Yeah. Like Josh said, Adam just said, society shows more attention than negative shit when there's so much more positive.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's true. It's more. I mean, it's honestly more entertaining. Without drama, there would be no TV or movies or anything. But
if everything was a positive light, it's all sunshines and daisies. That's boring as fuck.
Yeah.
A little bit of scary shit gets people going. Those are my favorite movies. I love scary shit, and I love, stupid shit like Jackass, and that's the kind of shit people want to see. So that's the kind of shit that gets plastered on main media sites and on the news, local and national. Dumb shit makes headlines.
For sure.
Yeah, but like
there's a time where I used to do dumb shit for YouTube views.
Oh, me too. I used to, when Jackass was huge, I used to try to do Jackass shit. I used to put myself in the cart, and go down hills and smash into trees and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But, that was only hurting me. That wasn't hurting anybody else. It's people, free handlers and shit make the Venice community look bad. And then you see, unfortunately, like I hate to even bring it up, but you see like dumbass videos of people feeding puppies and shit to fucking snakes. That makes us all look bad.
Yeah.
None of us, not
right, because none of us support it. You know what I mean? But
nobody would do that. Nobody in their right mind would do that. But there's some asshole that's going to do it for a publicity scheme, and that's the one that's going to make the news, and that makes the people think that, oh wow, snake people feed kittens and dogs and all this shit to their snakes. I spent $2,000 last month to fill my freezers. That'll last me a couple months. You know how cheap it would be to go get all the cats running around outside? But it's just not how we do it.
It's a very good point.
No, so
me and Josh would definitely be set. All the cats. But yeah, no.
I love how you bring that feeding cats and dogs point up, because I've seen it brought up before, and I've seen people say, well, one thing we got to remember is this hobby is an international hobby,
oh yeah,
so
they know in Asia,
so you're getting like right, Asians are like, a lot of them videos are surfacing from like Asian stuff where people eat cats and dogs, so it's like they're gonna feed their snake that.
So they think it's there. But yeah, that they eat dogs. What makes you think they're not going to feed it to their snakes?
Right.
It's different culture. It's a different view on things. Dogs are our best friends. Dogs to them are a food source. It's just how it is. Look at Indians. Indians worship cows. I love steak. I could never not eat steak. I just ate steak about an hour ago. I'm gonna keep doing that shit my entire life. And I'm going to eat them because I am higher on the food chain. Indians don't see it that way. Indians think they're like majestic creatures, and that's your belief. By all means, believe that. I believe they taste delicious.
And in the Middle East with pig, I love my bacon. I'm sorry.
Bacon's the best thing in the world.
Bacon. Let's
more
go there.
More bacon for me.
What's Christmas without the ham? You know what I'm saying?
I'll eat all the Muslim bacon for him. Don't worry.
For sure. That's cut up.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
You guys got any more questions, or you got any points you want to touch on?
Yes. I can't think of anything.
We usually spend like the last 10-15 minutes if you want to show some shit off, if you have anything available.
Well, I mean, I can show you the pied. I can show you maybe a few cobras. I'll have to hand the phone over to my wife and flip the camera. But yeah, I'm all game for that.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, give me a second.
That cool with you guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah? All right.
Oh, geez, we moved some shit around. We'll get the pied out first. He's not breeding right now. I'm trying him with a different female since the hypogranate ovulated, but
Yep. That's what he's doing right now.
But yeah,
Oh,
that's the
man.
pod. This is our male. We have a pair of these. I say we, but I mean we is me and Dominic Pisani, a close friend of mine. If you do the Pittsburgh show, you know him. He's about this tall, Italian dude. That he's at where Brad used to be set up for like the last 10 years now.
Yeah.
But he's raising our female. This is the male, obviously. So I have a lot more combo females, nice females than Dom does. So we decided to keep him here and breed him to my girls, make hets and double hets and triple hets and hypo hets and all kinds of hets. So yeah, he's here putting hopefully he's the one who did that hypogranite in. She's also been with my other hypogranite male. But I've only seen like a lock or two with them. This guy's been hitting her like Ron Jeremy, so I'm hoping this did the work. But yeah, some het pods would be great because like we only have a pair right now, and we could breed the pair together, but then we're gonna have all pies, and there's no diversity in that clutch. So we'd like some het. So at this point, both of our pies are het albino. So I'm really hoping. My initial plan was run him to the pearl, so we get pearl hets and albino hets and double hets and hypo double hets and all that fun stuff. But I normally give girls a year off in between breeding. I bred this pearl last year, but she snapped back so quick I figured I'd give her another chance. But she's just not receptive so far. So I threw her with the hypogranite in like 9-day difference. She's actually still super swollen. Hard to see, but that back part of her right there, you know, she's huge.
Yeah,
she's so hard.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, like look, that's her average height, and that's generally what her whole body is. She's like double, triple that size right now. So I'm really hoping that ovulation's from the pied. I'd even be happy with a split clutch, which I've never had. That would be a cool experience as is, but I'm really hoping it's just all a bunch of het pies in there.
Man, she's gorgeous.
Adam said he likes the room. It's clean and organized. He also said he's stealing the line about Ron Jeremy and using it from now on. Jamie wants to know, what do you guys think about drop down doors compared to sliders for big snakes?
Sliders all the way.
I was all drop down for the longest point in time in my life. But I've switched over to sliding glass mainly for the fact that I keep venomous animals. And I've learned that drop down doors for a cobra equals a launching ramp. So that's a bad idea. Same thing with a hungry retic. If they hit that at the right angle, it can come right up at your face. So yeah, I prefer sliding glass doors at this point. The only thing I found a downside of sliding glass doors is they're a lot easier for the animals themselves to push open if you don't have proper locks.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. As long as you find a way around that, you don't have problems.
Spec V said they want cobras.
Everybody loves cobras. I'll get the cobra out. Let's see. Well, what kind? You want like a real cobra? You want a real cobra, or you want a king cobra? Because technically, a king cobra is not a cobra.
There we go. Thank you for clarifying that for those who didn't know.
I did not know that, actually.
Your Siamensis, your spitters, your monocles, your forest cobras, all that. That's your true cobra. Ophiophagus technically isn't a cobra. It's its own thing. We just call them a cobra because they do have the flat neck. But technically, Ophiophagus isn't a cobra. Not a true cobra, at least. But,
right, true cobras fall under the class Naha. I think I'm saying that right.
They said monocle. They want monocled.
Monocle? We can do that. I got a good display for you too. We'll get the Lucy out.
Ooh.
He's a little testy sometimes. Josh actually got to take some pictures of this boy.
Uh-huh.
last time.
Yeah, I seen those pictures, man, and they were awesome.
I told you I taught him well. Jamie said thanks. She's looking to get an enclosure for a retic soon. Best around Pittsburgh area. Any recommendations?
Well, Rob Roush built a lot of my enclosures at one point in time. I don't think he's doing PVC anymore, which is what a lot of people want nowadays, just for the easily clean, and it does actually insulate very well.
Right.
Local, I mean, there's Jonathan Stevenson, if you want to go that way. In all honesty, he makes decent cages. I just don't like the way he puts his doors in. If you look at most, after I get them done, I'll show you real quick.
He does the rails on the inside instead of the outside.
Yeah, on the inside of the lip of the litter dam. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes it a pain in the ass.
No, on his newer ones, he made them higher. The newer ones have a higher rail, so it actually works pretty good now. But I have one of his older setups. What's that?
Like a smaller lip?
Yeah, now it has the larger. It's harder to get. It's hard to get the glass in, but not too hard. But originally they used to have the smaller rails, which then if you had any substrate would just get into the track. Now
right.
It's a good 2-inch track. Makes it you don't get all the stuff in it.
Okay.
I definitely like his newer ones better than the older ones.
Right. I don't know. That the inside track really just bothers me. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, out of all the other ones I've ever seen, the tracks were always on the outside.
If you're okay paying shipping though, actually, Chris doesn't even charge shipping. I recently put in a caging order with Chris Chapel, Chapel, whatever the hell, I don't know. But he built me these 8-footers, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about Chris's company.
They look clean.
Oh, yeah.
I love these things. They have actually. This is an 8x3 by 18 high, I think. But it comes in 2 sections, so you have 2 4x3s that you bolt together and you seal. They all come disassembled because who wants to ship something this big? But I'm super impressed with these cages so far. I haven't put animals in them yet. I have installed heat panels. I've sealed them, all that good stuff. I put my thermostats in them. They hold temp screw. They're super clean. The glass slides well. The tracks are nice. Everything about these cages I like so far. And I put my Tegu cage on top of them to really give them the test to see if they bow. I haven't had any flex in these cages at all so far. He has free shipping. He actually gave me a really good deal. I paid like $1,500 for these 2 cages, and for 8-foot cages for 2 of them, that's like unheard of. With a lot of PVC, you get like this. You get this flat black, so it kind of really absorbs the urate stains. These are, if you look here, like a high gloss. It doesn't absorb. It wipes a lot cleaner, a lot easier.
Oh,
getting a call.
But
hey, you're getting
so
a call.
far, I like these cages a lot. I haven't put animals in them yet, just for the fact that those 2 big girls over there, that hypogranate that just ovulated, below her is my big green girl who's doing about a week. They're going to go in those as soon as they drop, and I just don't want to throw them on or give them cause any problems with the growing process, the laying process. But so I haven't had to test them with animals in yet, but so far everything about those cages I love, and that's Herptastic Reptiles, I think. And it's free shipping. I placed that order. He got me the cages in like 6 weeks. I thought that was a pretty good turnaround for placing an order. I don't know. I've never ordered from John. I don't know what his turnaround is. Being local, it might be a little less, but John would probably be a good way for local cages. But if you're okay shipping and waiting a little bit, I really like these cages so far. They're nice.
Herptastic is a great company all around. That's who I have most of my racks are through.
Did you catch that, Adam?
Can't hear you.
So like, you guys are saying, like, I've noticed a lot of these PVC cages built with the lip on the inside and the track, like, taking up the full frame of the, like the glass, the sliding glass taking up like the full frame of the cage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what's that do differently than to just like maybe run your lip and then run the track on top of that lip? So what I'm saying is, like, does it make a big difference on how it's done, like cleaning wise, or does it help prevent escapees? Or
Wait, you mean I'm having a hard time hearing you for some reason.
Yeah,
You're like muffled
really?
since you got that call.
Yeah, it was ever since you got a phone call. It kind of screwed up your
For
mic.
some reason, I'm only hearing you through like my microphone speakers. So I'm coming through like speakerphone. Like,
Maybe
I'm having to hear you. I gotta put my fucking phone in my face. I'm trying to figure this out.
yeah, it's weird.
What the fuck?
all right, maybe if I unplug my.
No, I don't think it's his or yours, Conrad.
Oh
Nah,
yeah.
His
No,
is like,
it shouldn't.
There we go.
The wife said she had the phone. She said somebody tried to call me.
yeah, and that's when it all started getting messed up because it kind of like picked up the vibration, I guess, and it
I don't know. I'll just hold it for now. Yeah, I can still hear you. I can just, Now, what was it? What was the question?
Oh,
All right, so like,
he'll be back.
hey Keith,
What's up, man?
just like panned over to your face. I'm like, how's it going?
We'll wait for him to get back.
We're having technical difficulties, folks.
Yeah.
Just give us
There he is.
a couple.
Hold on. Oh,
There
wait.
it is.
There he is.
Yo,
That's
there we
what-
go.
we're back.
Kinda. I think we're better. All right.
Fuck it.
Is that better? Can you hear me better now?
We're good. We're good.
Cool.
All right. So like with your cages, you guys were talking about how the lips built on the inside and the tracks on the outside, Well,
Yeah,
the guy I go through a local guy who builds mine, and he builds them out of like plywood and stuff. He does do PVC. I haven't really seen any of his PVC work. Most of it's been plywood that I've seen. But like he runs the lip and then he runs the track on top of the lip. I mean, do either one of those serve like a big difference
You mean like
in purpose?
so? You mean on a cage like this, he would run the track right here?
Yeah, like right on top of the lip.
Huh. I've never encountered that in a cage. I've always had the litter dam behind the lip. So I don't know how that would affect the versatility of the rack.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like eventually, because like the cage I'm not using, I had to move it around so much, and that's the one melamine cage I bought from him, which I honestly hate. There's a reason I don't use it. But when I went to go move it, the lip actually, like the track, like came unglued or something in the middle of the move, and like all the plexiglass I had running as my doors like fell right in the cage. The track fell off, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
I was kind of thinking that myself, because another advantage to having that the track in front of the litter dam is that litter dam is going to add kind of like a little brace as well. You're not going to have the full force of it. If it shakes, like they do a little bit, you get that little bit of play in a track. If it shakes like that, here it's going to put all the pressure on that glue there that's holding it to that. So that's going to be a lot easier to pop off than if this shakes, it's going to have that back pressure keeping it from wanting to push out. These cages, the track was actually cut into them by a CNC machine, but on all my AP cages, I had to glue them on. So I'm betting if that was the same thing here, as much as I've moved my room around over the years, and I mean, even being with my wife, we probably lived in 5 different houses until we bought this place. So I think it would probably last a lot longer like this than they would if they were on top of the litter dam themselves. Just for, I don't know.
Right.
Reason.
And that's one thing I've always kind of been worried about, because, you know, I've never seen anyone else build their cages quite like he does them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've never. I've had a lot of different brands of cages, and a lot of people make me cages over the years, and I've never run into that.
Yeah, I guess. See, because my large female retic, you know, she's only 12 foot right now, but she'll push once in a while. And like, it's always been a concern that she's gonna, you know, push that fucking track right off, you know.
Well, that size could have the power to do something like that. Oh, geez. That's my baby boy.
Yeah, and tell everyone what you're pulling out here, or what you have out.
Dax. This is a Indo-Malaysian locality cross captive bred king cobra. And he's a little over 2 years old. He was born in October of 2017. He's a little squirrely right now because he hasn't been out in a while. So he'll calm down in a minute. But yeah, this is one of my kings. I have two king cobras. I have a Chinese bandit and I have this boy. And I don't ever recommend free handling an animal. But with a king cobra, it can be a little crazy to hook sometimes. So when they get squirmy like that, you might see me drop the hook and just grab his tail for a minute. But the hook's always close. But yeah, this is a snake eater. A lot of people think that's weird, but even in the wild, this is a snake that eats snakes primarily as its main food source.
It gives you a reason to breed ball pythons.
He loves ball pythons. I mess with the white ball python. She has a couple that we have that when she makes me mad, I'm going to feed them to him.
Jeez. Well, I mean, snakes, you just got to eat too. I mean,
right.
You can't really change your snake's diet.
That's the thing. He was such a pain in the ass as a baby. I got him before he had his first shed, before he had his first feed, anything like that, because once people actually get him eating, the price on him goes up quite a bit. And I wanted the experience of raising him myself. You know, I wanted to get him started. And I feel like as long as I've had him and all the hands-on work it took, because I had to tube feed him for a long time, he wouldn't eat by himself. I feel like it's made him a lot better animal, because I got my Chinese almost as an adult. It was probably close to 5 foot when I got him, and now he's hell on wheels. He doesn't ride a hook well. He's super fast. He comes flying out of the cage. I mean, you can see this boy. He moves around a lot, but he hasn't come back at me once. He hasn't even really looked at me once. He's just kind of trying to get away. But he's not doing it in like a spastic manner either. He's just kind of weighing it, you know. He's not flailing. He's being pretty relaxed for the most part.
Now, how long do you expect him to get? I think cobras get like 12 foot and 13 foot.
I've heard of king cobras reaching 15. But the locality, like I said, he is a Malaysian Indo cross, which a lot of people get weird about because they want pure. Which, I mean, I'm a bit of a purist myself. I don't like hybrids. I don't like that kind of stuff. But a king cobra is a king cobra. I don't care. He's not for breeding anyway. He's a pet. But the locality depends a lot on how big they get. My Chinese is probably a foot and a half shorter than this boy, but he's also older than this boy. When I got my Chinese, Dax was probably only like 3, maybe 4 foot long. So he's grown quite a bit. He's pushing 8 now. He's not small. But like I said, this snake's only 2 years old. That snake is probably 2 years old when I got him at 4 foot, and he's probably maybe 6 now. And I've had him since we bought this house, which has almost been 2 years. So the growth rate on that animal way slower than the growth rate on this animal. So I'm expecting this boy to get 12 plus easy, no problem. Honestly, I think he'll surpass that as well. The Chinese, which are known to stay a little smaller, I don't think he'll get much past 9. And another thing about king cobras, a lot of snakes, if you keep snakes, especially if you breed snakes, you know that snakes generally can be pretty easily genetically dimorphic, meaning females are a lot larger than males. These guys are the exact opposite. Females get smaller and males get massive, which is why I got males in this case. When I got a king, I wanted a big, just monster of a king, because that's what you think of when you think king cobra is the largest venomous snake in the world. So this boy's going to get big, and that's what I'm hoping for. My dream and end goal is I want a walk-in enclosure for this boy. Like, roof to floor, 8 foot long, 4 foot wide, just massive with like trees and a nice little pond. But right now, I don't have room for that, but we'll work on it.
Oh man, that'd be dope. I've seen some pretty cool king enclosures.
Yeah, the guy who inspired me to do that was actually Jesse Black. He was one of the few people in the States that did breed kings. And that's pretty much all of his cages were roof to floor walking cages with slanted cement floors with rain back, just so he could do it up, you know. And he had rain systems and all this, and they were really impressive. And that really set the bar for me for king cages. And that's what I feel like I have to do for this animal now, is I have to give him a cage like this, because he deserves it. They're absolutely amazing. I've never worked with an animal just so intelligent, you know. But I mean, as you can see, he's like calm as can be. You know, I don't take my eyes off him. I always have that head in my line of view, because especially your own animal, you can pick up on body language. You know what they're gonna. You don't always know what they're gonna do, but you have an idea of what they're gonna do. And he's like a noodle right now. He doesn't care about nothing.
Yeah, I noticed he's quite calm now compared to when you first pulled him out.
When he first comes out, you know, that initial out of the cage, he's squirmy, he's all over the place, but you work him for a couple minutes and he really just turns into mush. He's a lovely animal. Now he's trying to find my Timor to give her a little snack.
No. Now, how hard was it at first when you got cobras? Like, how long did it take you to get them to eat? Really? Like you said, yeah.
I bought 2. Initially, I bought a male and a female, not for breeding purposes, just because I don't know. I wouldn't mind having 2, especially brother and sister, just because, I don't know, family thing. But the female, when I had her, she ended up passing out of nowhere. I just came home from work one day and she was belly up. But I tube fed her probably like 2 months before she started to actually. I would get her in the tube. I would take a pinky mouse. I got them from Andy Maddox. Andy recommended that I feed them pinks for the first, however so long, because it was October. Baby corn snakes, king snakes, stuff like that weren't the easiest thing to come by, especially alive at that point. Or at least people that would want to give you a decent enough price that it was sensible to feed your snake. So I was feeding him 5 days a week. So pretty much Monday through Friday. I would stick him in a tube. I would take a pinky mouse, let him get in the tube about that far from the end, and just poke him in the face with a pinky mouse for 10 minutes. Sometimes Shai can vouch for that. It would take an hour to get him to actually bite onto it and work it down. And then the female, like I said, 2 months, 3 months into doing that, she would actually grab the pink, work it down herself. And then I got her on frozen thawed snakes, no problem. And I thought she was doing great. Dax was a pain in the ass. I had to do the tube feeding with him for like mice. It was probably 6 months before I even got him to take a snake. And then even then, I would have to tube feed him again to take a snake. I couldn't leave a snake in there. I couldn't tongue feed him a snake. So he was a pain in the ass. It was probably 9 months, maybe 10, but around 9 before he'd actually eat on his own consistently. I could leave a snake in there and it would be gone in the morning. Now he'll eat off tongs, any of that. But female was doing great. She was eating on her own. I thought she was going to be, you know, my shining star. And then, yeah, I came home, she was dead. And then I expected him to die because he didn't eat. And then, yeah, he's perfect in every way. I love that snake. I'd be a mess if anything ever happened to him. He's so cool. I never thought I would get so attached to a snake that could kill me, but he's absolutely amazing. I love him. This is my first cobra ever. That's actually her right there. She changed my life. She was cobras for me forever. Because she's like, even as a baby, she didn't care about nothing. She wouldn't hood up. She just wanted food, and she just, you know, look around. She rode a hook well, and then I got a couple more cobras, and they wanted to kill me. And yeah, but she, you know, she doesn't even hood up. That took to get this picture reference. I had to piss with her for like a half hour and really upset her to get her to hood up and get a good picture. But yeah, cobras are in between. They're either spastic or they're like broken, like a corn snake, and they just don't want to do nothing.
I want to return this snake. Why? It doesn't do nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't hood.
My uncle, I grew up around Brad McCarthy, so I was always around cobras and all that kind of stuff. I go to Brad's and there's cobras and there's rattlesnakes and there's gaboon vipers and there's spitters spitting at the glass. There's mambas. So I expected cobras to, like, you know, hood up and come at you and always defensive and loud and noisy. And then I got her and she was the exact opposite of that. So I thought, oh, you know, that was just all play. And then I got some cobras and I realized, no, they are assholes. They're fun. I wouldn't change it for the world, though. Brad yells at me all the time for keeping venomous snakes, but you know, he gets it. He did it for a long time too. And this is something everybody knows and everybody loves. I'm not gonna tail her, but
no. No, they're pretty quick.
A West African baboon viper, Venus rhinoceros. She's pretty cool. I think I contribute these snakes to why I love blood python so much. I've always loved baboon vipers, and they're short and fat, just like a blood python. So I think that really kind of pushed me in the direction of keeping blood python.
Man, gaboons have always been one of my favorites, though. I think the first time I seen one was in a reptile magazine when I was a kid. You know, it was like a cover picture. I'm like, holy shit, what's that? You know? So,
and you know, that is another thing. Like, we're talking about pied balls. You know, even if you're not a snake person, you can look at a pied and be like, damn, that's pretty. This is another one of those, man. I don't know anybody that has looked at a gaboon viper and been like, that's ugly. They're breathtaking animals. Their pattern, their color, I mean, their head. It's probably really hard to see on camera, but her head's pink, and she's absolutely stunning animal, man. Like, just pinks and greens and grays and just deep, robust, burgundy brown. Gorgeous animal. But, you know, it's always like the pretty ones that you can't touch. But yeah, everybody knows. Well, everybody at one point in time has seen a picture of a gaboon viper, and everybody at one point in time has been like, "Damn, that's a pretty snake." Like, even people like, I'm afraid to death of snakes can appreciate the way this snake looks, because there's just no denying it. The symmetry of the pattern, the intricacy of the pattern, and the color of the animal just all go together so well. It's so impressive. And then just so much animal packed into just that, you know, it's insane. And especially a big gaboon, their head can get as big as, you know, a full-grown man's fist. So it's an impressive animal. And then when they're threatened, they'll do that loud huff puff. Let's see if we can get it. You probably hear it a little bit, but when she's pissed off, you know it. You can hear her across the room. If, like, my cat sneaks down here and is kicking around in front of the cage, and she knows it. You'll hear her. She'll start huffing and puffing, and it's pretty loud. It gets intense.
You ever thought of getting into mambas or boom slangs? Or?
I know my limits, and with my space that I have now, mambas would be a nightmare. I don't know if you've ever been around a mamba.
I've seen plenty of videos, and they're pretty wily.
Wily.
I mean, this is a pretty fairly open space. I would not feel comfortable working a mamba in this space whatsoever. They're so unpredictable and they're so damn fast. Most times when I've been around people that have mambas and they open the cage, the mamba comes flying out of the cage, and I don't want to deal with that. At least not in these close proximities, because I mean that's an animal that can get 8, 10, 12 foot long and just fast as all hell. The blink of an eye and that snake can be across the room. So I'm not putting myself in a situation like that.
Yeah. When you put it like that way, it's
they're awesome snakes, but I don't feel like it's a good combination between my personality and the way my room's set up and Mamba's. It's a bad combo.
See.
Yeah, it'd be like rolling the dice every time.
Yeah, and that's not something I'm young. I don't want to die that quick. I just got here last year. I'm trying to enjoy it and ride it out a little bit.
Jamie says she loves Brad. Her husband got to check out his place one day while she was working. She was so jealous. Yeah, me and Josh have been there. It's awesome.
Brad's house. All right. Most kids want to go to Disneyland and SeaWorld and all this kind of shit. It didn't get better than Brad's house for me as a kid.
Even now, his collection is just so massive and diverse. It's insane.
Absolutely, man. And and not to mention, he's just the sweetest fucking guy. He doesn't care who. He'll sit down and talk to you like you were Tom Crutchfield or somebody. He's such a downer guy, and everybody on the East Coast respects Brad. And if you've been in snakes long enough, probably heard the Brad named Brad McCarthy, and he knows that, but none of that will ever go to his head. He's still the most down-to-earth, sweetheart guy. He has a foul mouth and dirty sense of humor.
Yes.
Such a good guy.
Right.
I blame Brad for what the fuck you're looking at. I never in a million years thought I would have half of my house full of snakes. Brad, that's your fault, buddy.
And Adam wants to know if you did any classes or anything for handling venomous. Any
no
mentors
I've
or
worked with people. I've worked under people. I've worked with venomous animals before I actually made the jump into venomous animals myself.
Mm-hmm.
Which I recommend for anybody. If you're thinking about getting into venomous animals, and us being in Pennsylvania, if you are in Pennsylvania and watching this, we are one of the few privileged states that we still get to keep what we want.
Without any no permits, nothing like that. We go to
same with Michigan.
Michigan's another one. It's a free for all. But if we keep doing dumb shit like that kid that I posted about a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, something like that, free handling the rattlesnake. That's the kind of shit that gets laws put on people and makes us need permits. There are people out there that keep snakes, venomous snakes, myself, Greg Madden, stuff like that, in PA that would qualify for the permits. But there are people that are qualified enough to keep these animals, but wouldn't have the hands-on experience or somebody to vouch for them to get these permits if laws like that were imposed. So that would screw over so many people. But I do recommend anybody that wants to keep venomous animals, cobras, gaboons, hell, even copperheads, rattlesnakes, stuff like that. Find somebody around you that keeps these animals, knows a lot, has a good track record. You can go to any Joe Schmo that has venomous snakes and has fasciotomy scars or is missing these 2 fingers or, those aren't the kind of people we want to learn from. because then you're putting yourself in harm's way just by picking up on bad habits of other people. So you want to go to somebody that's going to teach you the proper way to do things. Don't open venomous enclosures with your hands. Don't open a holding tub with your hands. Never take your eyes off the snake. Never get complacent. Get super long feeding tongs for your venomous animals, because a bite from a big retic and a bite from a big cobra are completely different. One's going to rip you open. One's going to put you in the hospital and possibly kill you. Definitely learn everything you can. Do all the research you can before you get the actual hands-on experience. Just read. There's good forums, even Facebook's good for that. There's all kinds of good online groups, venomous keeper groups, and then there's even mentorship groups on Facebook now, that you can find somebody in your local area that may be willing to work with you and teach you. But yeah, definitely you want to have some kind of at least hands-on experience before you go get a venomous animal, because it could be a life or death situation if you do make a mistake. And nobody wants to see you in that. I don't. The hospital doesn't. Nobody does. It's a bad situation. But
right. Don't
keep in mind when you keep these animals. It can happen.
For sure.
I mean, what? There's like two people that I can specifically remember. I'm in a couple of venomous groups, even though I don't own any, because I really do appreciate seeing the animals, And so there's a couple names that come to mind every time you say getting bit, basically, because everyone's thrown their names out on these groups because they've posted like the video of them getting bit, even, which is dumb. Don't do that. So
yeah, there's a video that was going.
You know what I'm saying?
So everybody's heard of him. I'm not gonna bring up his name, but and then he's still on a lot of the groups that I'm in, venomous keeper groups, and he is somebody that was on a live stream like we are now, handling an animal, free handling an animal, and got bit, and he still goes around and like brags about it. I don't know. He feels like it's cool, but that's the kind of idiocracy that draws a bad light to venomous keeping. We're already, there's a black cloud following us venomous keepers everywhere we go. People think that we're 50. People think that what we do, we shouldn't be doing. There's no reason to have cobras. There's no reason to have mambas. There's no reason to have gaboon vipers. But that's what we're doing. There is a reason, and the reason is because we like it. We enjoy it. We love these animals. We're fascinated by these animals, and we can do what we want. So who the hell is anybody to tell us what we can and can't keep? So we just need to stop doing dumb shit and saying dumb shit and putting dumb shit on the internet to put all that at jeopardy. Because I know if laws are passed in Pennsylvania and they wanted to come start taking venomous animals from people because it's against the law now, you better come deep, because I love my babies and you're not taking them.
Yeah, see, I was gonna make a comparison because we get people watch the stream who aren't into reptiles like we all are, and but I can make this comparison to guns. You're not going to want to, if you're a gun owner, you're not going to want to go do something stupid with your gun and then put it on social media, because that's going to be used as a, point to have guns taken, because look what this idiot's doing with this gun, Like,
the problem is they take things from good people that are doing the thing the right way.
Exactly.
It's not the it's everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Adam, cheers, Josh.
Huh? Cheers.
Cheers. And also, Jamie wants to know what we think about the deceased retic that they found.
The what?
The deceased retic, and where was that? Ohio?
The one they found on the side of the road
in Morgantown.
Was it Morgantown? I think it was Ohio somewhere.
Yeah, I thought it was Ohio. I might be wrong. I might be 100%.
They said it was like a 15-foot tiger retic.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't say it was a tiger retic, but it was a tiger retic. I think that animal died. I don't think it was set outside and died.
It died in someone's house and they put it there.
Yeah, it died in somebody's care, and then they didn't know what to do with it, and then they dumped it somewhere. I don't think that snake was released into just the woods. I think that snake died in the care of somebody, and somebody who doesn't know what to do with a 15-foot snake when it's dead. Which, I mean, how many people really know what to do with a giant python when it dies? People that have experienced that or know people that experience stuff like that would, or at least have some kind of means to dispose of the body. But, I mean, every Joe Schmo's not going to, maybe they lived in an apartment building and they don't want to dump it in the dumpster or something. So they thought it might be a better idea to dump in the woods. Personally, I think that's what happened, but you never know. I mean, fucking over summer, somebody was driving their pickup truck apparently or something with a retic in the back, and the fucker popped out, and then it was on the side of the road. So I mean, dumb shit happens. People do dumb shit. So, but personally, I think that animal died, and then somebody put it there. I don't think that, because with the way this winter's been, with ups and downs with temperatures, that snake wouldn't have lasted more than a half hour outside.
And I also don't think a retic would have went out into the open if it was dying.
No, most likely would have went
out somewhere to hide away.
Yeah. Adam said dig a damn hole, and Jamie said she thought it was in Monroeville or somewhere in PA.
No, nowhere in PA.
Yeah, I didn't even see it or hear about it. But...
I'm almost
really?
positive. I'm almost positive it was West Virginia, but it could have been Ohio. But I'm almost positive it was West Virginia.
What was it? West Virginia last year had that incident with the guy in his truck, and
it got out.
Yeah, that was West Virginia. That was also Morgantown. I think that was Morgantown.
What made no sense is the fact that they said it was last spotted in this, in a tree. Okay, so why didn't someone stand there and watch it? See where it went from there. How did you spot it and then just? I'm not gonna look at.
Dude, the story.
I'm bored of watching.
Zero sense. It made no sense at all. This guy lost it, and later to find out like what the guy was injured or something. I don't remember. The story made no sense.
The news.
He lost it out of his truck, and then something about a missing shirt or something was thrown in there. I don't. It's that all ridiculous.
I don't know. There's a lot of dumb people out there, man. There's a lot of dumb people, but.
And then there's one last question I had.
There's always going to be somebody that's going to jeopardize what we do. There's always going to be somebody that makes us look bad.
For sure.
That's where we come in. We need to be the positive light that
So what about what
good.
about intentional bites in the venomous community? Like I'm gonna put his name out there, like Tim Fried. Yes.
That's a controversial aspect as well. That's more so people outside of the reptile community probably find it super it is fascinating. The idea of building up a natural immunity to the venom of a mamba.
Yeah, because I watched him take that mamba bite. I'm not gonna lie, I watched that video.
Back to back, three.
Yeah,
one mamba bite
was
nuts. And Tim took 3 back to back on the same fucking arm. He still has the arm. He still has the hand. He's still alive. He's a little twitchy. He's a little, he does this once in a while. But that's what happens when you take countless mamba bites, I suppose.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But I don't know. When I was a kid, I always thought it was cool because, there's Bill Haast, and anybody who knows venomous snake knows Bill Haast. Bill Haast injected himself with snake venom daily to build up an immune system because what he did for a living was milk venomous snakes. And when you have hundreds of venomous snakes and you're handling them every day, bites are going to happen. So what Bill did was take small amounts of venom, dilute it with either saline, sterile water, some kind of solution, and he would inject himself. And at first you get the burning sensation, that kind of stuff, what you would expect from, a bite, but much smaller amounts of, symptoms. Over time, the theory is that you build an immune system to that, and that's what happened to Bill, and that's what happened to Tim. Tim can take a mamba bite He swells up. He bleeds like a son of a bitch. And he says it hurts, but he lives. He doesn't have the labored breathing. He doesn't have his heart shut down. He doesn't have any kind of necrosis. He just bleeds and he swells and it goes away. And he goes on.
Yeah, to me that's just insane to me, but it is cool from a scientific aspect. I mean, he was someone I wanted to get on here. I actually think I reached out to him, but I don't think he ever responded back.
I haven't seen Tim did a lot of interviews for a while. I haven't seen a lot out of Tim in the last few years because I did follow Tim closely because I was always fascinated by the idea of, SI. It's fascinating. It always is. It's gonna be. The fact that you can train your body to fight off, the venom of an animal that's built to kill you, built to drop its prey in a matter of minutes. It's impressive. But it's also very dangerous. There was a friend of mine, Stefan. He's who sold me my first cobra and my first gaboon viper. He was injecting himself with green mamba venom, and he doubled down on his dose, and he ended up having a heart attack and dying. Now, do if that's related? No, we don't. He might have just had a heart attack. He was an overweight guy, so that could have had something to do with it. It could have been the process of SI itself and doubling down on the venom that could have caused it. But there's risks, and then there's positive side from it. The positive is if you do slip up and get bit, you live. But I don't know if I would ever do it just for the fact that and everybody reacts to venom differently. There's people that can take a bite from a cobra and have the adverse reactions that you would expect from a cobra, like the labored breathing, and then your respiratory system would shut down and you have local swelling and necrosis. And then you get to the hospital and they administer antivenom, and then you have an allergic reaction to the antivenom, and then you go into anaphylaxis shock, and then you die. So sometimes there's points like that where that can be more dangerous, but that can also happen with the venom. You could be somebody that's allergic to it. The chances are slim, and you could hit yourself with that venom, and then you could have a reaction to it, not knowing that you're allergic. And then at that point, that's like a peanut allergy. That's one of the worst allergies you can have. It affects quickly, and you can die. So there's the only positive aspect from it is surviving bites. If you look at Tim videos, Tim's twitchy. Tim has tics. I don't know if that's just how Tim was naturally, because I've never talked to Tim prior to his adventures with SI. I've only talked to Tim since he's been doing that. And I don't know if that's an effect from it itself, or Tim was like that. So there could be long-term effects from doing that itself. I don't know. Then there's not a lot of people doing it either. So who really knows? I don't think the study is too in depth at this point.
Right.
Well, yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we call it a night?
Take it easy, Adam. See you next time.
Later, Adam.
What about George's venomous collection? You guys ever check them out? No. George?
Diaz?
Yeah, I'm assuming she means Diaz. I've never seen it personally.
Talking about George and Desiree, I have not. I'm friends with them, and I haven't even been to their new store yet. I need to go to their store in Ambridge because I hear good things, and I hear it's a really nice setup.
Yeah, we keep saying the same thing.
Yeah, me and Josh have said the same thing every week. We haven't been out there. Let's make it a date.
No. Yeah, I know. And I talk to their Desiree's kid Herbie all the time. I don't know. I'm busy all the time. I'd love to get out there and check out what they have going on because George does have some really nice snakes. But no, I haven't been out there, but I would like to sometime soon. Actually, me and Shai have been talking about that pretty much every show we're there. We end up talking to George and Des, and then we talk about going out there, and then just can't find the hours in the day to do it. But yeah, I would love to get out there and check out George's stuff. I'd like to see his new store and all the animals he has there. I hear really good things.
All right. Well, I'm out of ideas.
Yeah. So man, it's been real, and we definitely appreciate you coming on to join us. I know you don't really know me on Facebook because, you know, I'm in fucking northern Michigan and it sucks. But I mean, you know Keith and Josh pretty well, and I mean, I know they were pretty excited to have you come on. So
yeah, I'm glad, man. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but like I said, I'm busy 24/7. When you got 300 some snakes and a full-time job, it's a heavy workload. So
you must be one lazy guy at the pet store, I swear. You must be the laziest guy at a pet store.
It's all I do. I sit around and I talk and I take pictures and I put them on the internet. You know,
for sure. That's the way to do it. You hire workers to do all the actual labor shit.
I need to start paying my wife, and I have a few friends over here I could get paying, but I don't know. I'm picky. I like shit done my way, you know.
Right. I can agree with that.
Unless I'm like deathly sick, I'm down here every damn day till at least 7 o'clock.
Yeah. All right.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to come back on next month or so, whenever, just let us know. I mean, we'd love to have you back. I mean, especially
do a collection fucking walkthrough. I don't know, something like that.
Oh yeah,
you should have babies and shit.
Yeah, clutch updates, all that good stuff.
Yeah, clutch updates should be coming.
Yeah, kids too.
Yeah. Well, it should be a good year. We should have all kinds of shit. Actually, my green over there is having some heavy labor breathing, looks like right now, and having a couple twitches. I think she's a week out, but I forgot to write down when she shed last after her ovulation. So I'm not sure when she's gonna go, but yeah, we it's gonna be a good year. I'd love to do clutch updates, especially as shit's coming out, because there will be all kinds of stuff this year, man.
I mean, honestly, if you give us like a week heads up or few days heads up or something, I'm sure we could work something out when you do actually pop out some babies, you know.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd definitely be cool. That'd be game.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks again.
Yeah.
For finding time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. It was a good time. I'm glad I could,
Yeah, man. I mean,
for sure.
In the conversations, I mean, it was great. You definitely brought up some valid points that, once again,
I find that absolutely amazing that we've done this how many times now, and every single time new shit gets brought up. It blows my fucking.
Dude, I love it. I fucking love it.
That's the best part about doing what you guys do and having new people on. There's always going to be a fresh outlook on something, or you know, bringing new people into a group like that always brings a fresh look on stuff.
Yeah, and it's not even
actually hoping to see, because we haven't talked about hybrids yet, and you had mentioned it. I'm like, let me see what his thoughts are on it.
Yeah,
I'm feeding him my kings. I'm like, and that's I have a hybrid. I have a Gabino, which is a rhino viper to a gaboon viper hybrid, but it occurs naturally in the wild. There's been gaboons imported, females, gravid, and then shit out a whole liter of gabinos. So the only logical explanation of that is in the wild, a gabino ended up banging a rhino. So that's a naturally occurring hybrid. I personally think there's a lot of blood python people will tell you it can't happen. I personally think the idea of a hybrid Sumatran shorttail to a blood python is completely possible. So I don't like hybrid blood shorttails, but I think it's definitely possible in the wild. I don't like it because it muddies down the color, and then if you breed in other shit, it makes morph look funky. Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like shit like rock pythons, the Burmese and shit. If it can't happen naturally, I don't see the point in doing it.
I like the look of it. My problem with it is people don't keep track of genetics or anything, and then it gets sold at a reptile show, and this person forgot completely what it is. Like, I've seen people label a boa as a ball python for sale. Like, it's that dumb.
Craigslist is bad.
I feel like things are getting passed around, not actually know what it was.
And that's exactly why I don't like hybrids. I was all about hybrids until I became a die-hard blood and short tail guy. I loved bat eaters. I thought they were the coolest fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all kinds of hybrids. And then I got into blood pythons. And then I started seeing what hybrids did to blood pythons. All right, I'm going to show you blood python real quick.
Hopefully a couple of you stuck around.
Oh, yeah.
This is blood python.
This is, we said goodbye and walked the same direction.
Yeah. This is blood. Super red, super pretty. You put a Sumatran short tail to this, you're gonna have an ugly, round, dark, gray. So the idea of a hybrid, taking two awesome snakes, an extremely dark, black, gray animal, to an extremely bright red animal, and you put them together, you come out with this animal that almost looks just like a blood python or Curtis, but the color's ugly, and you can't tell that it's a hybrid if you don't know what to look for in a hybrid. That ruined hybrids for me. That could be people mixing all these, and then people that have, golden eyes.
Yeah.
And all these high blood pythons, and they get this because they think it's cool, and then they breed it in their projects, not knowing what it is, and then you unknowingly muddied up your bloodline of an animal you may have put $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 into, and then somebody like me comes along, and you think you have this awesome snake, and then I see it's a hybrid, or inclining of a hybrid, and that completely ruins it for me, because if you breed a hybrid with a nice red animal like this, it's just going to make the babies draft, and that completely. If I buy the animal to breed, that completely ruined that animal for me. I selectively breed. I don't breed just to make babies. I breed for color and pattern and quality. I don't want something bringing that quality down.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying there.
If you want to do it, I had Brian Selman and I were good friends for a while. We used to talk on Facebook all the time. And then he made some super ball. There's a ball hybrid. I made some comments, and he flipped his shit. Now he hates me. But, that's everybody's opinion. I don't like him. He does. I don't care. Fuck you. You don't like me? Get over it. Blood pure, and I'm going to keep, if I see you fucking that up, I'm going to let you know my opinion. It's my opinion. It's what it is. If you don't like it, it's not your opinion. It's mine. I don't care. It doesn't mean we can't be friends. That's like I have friends with different political views. I don't care. As long as you're not a piece of shit, we're cool. But yeah, hybrids we could get more in depth on that in another day. I don't want to keep you guys up too late.
We'll say that for next time. Give us something to talk about.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us again, man. And we'd definitely love to have you next time. Well, another time.
Definitely fun.
Yep. Thanks to Dillon. Thanks to all the viewers and chatters. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
And it's more fun than just this. I said it's a lot more fun at Dillon's house.
Oh, I'm sure it is at any.
Yeah, maybe someday we can all come here and we'll fucking link up and we could do it from here or some shit. I don't know. Obviously, fucking Conrad, you're in Michigan. You're gonna have a hard time doing that. But
dude,
Conrad has problems making it to Walmart, man.
All right. So the thing is, I think this year or next year, I'm really going to start focusing on getting out of state more and making it to more reptile related events, because even Michigan doesn't have fucking shit for reptile shows. I gotta go all the way downstate.
All right, guys. I'm hitting the end button.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Later. All right. What's up?
1 second.